This is an Amper Sounds production.
But we would become so emotional because we'd been away from home for so long. They'd wake us at 5 a.m. and keep us filming till 2 a.m.
Oh, wow.
No sleep. Like,
Club.
another club, train, bus, job centre, noodles, back to it, like blow dries. It was a lot. And just before we went to judges' houses, I'd been in Ibiza for a week, so you can imagine the fucking state I was in. I was like, oh God.
Want to calm down.
Literally like weeping as soon as the cameras were off because I learned to kind of shield myself. But yeah, we were filming in LA. We ended up going to this amazing shoot location for judges' houses. We then went over to Robbie Williams' actual house, sat there, walked through his house. It was unbelievable.
What was Robbie involved? Oh,
he was the guest judge.
The guest judge. Okay, yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Hey, Marcus.
Hey.
What's going on for you?
A lot.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
A lot.
How much you want to share? How much time you got?
Listen, as long as you got tape, as long as you got memory in that camera, I'll tell you. I'm here to just, be authentic and tell the truth.
Beautiful. Beautiful. How are things?
Things from this year's been a bit of a roller coaster.
Okay.
My end. Like, a personal life, different projects that have come in that I'm kind of questioning. Is this the avenue? Do I want to be doing this? All change. Literally all change. So
Change is a scary thing.
Yeah.
But it also brings like things that you did not expect on the end. Sometimes when you start things up rough, you go, oh, I needed to go through that. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear about that.
It's been a bit of a rough one. I know a lot of people are struggling at the moment. There's a lot of things that are getting people down. The industry, jobs, relationships, people's health, cost of living, the weather in Britain. There's a multitude of things that could go wrong. But it does seem like things can only go up from here. So trying to stay in that positive mind frame of going to move forward, going to stay focused, going to do the work. It's hard.
It is hard. It is hard.
Sit with yourself and to tick it off, to get it done. It's difficult. It's not comfortable at all. But like you said, you've got to sit in these things sometimes. You've got to... The only way out is through.
Yeah. Is there anything that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to being in my best mental health era. And that is when my calendar is fully booked. That is when my heart is full. That is when I have a nice balance of work and time spent with friends and family, chosen family. And yeah, I like to be busy. I like to have each quadrant of my circle at capacity. So friends, family, work, and then me.
Are you one of those people where when you've got too much time, that's when your mental health starts to...
Can I swear?
Yeah. You can swear, absolutely.
Honestly, like I've been quite open about struggling with
Yeah.
my mental health. Like I suffer with anxiety. I get really bad depression. And it can come over on a Sunday afternoon. You just be sitting having lunch with friends or family and you can feel this pressure cloud. And I think when you're a performer, you get used to just switching it on and you know how to do the whole thing. As soon as the red light on the camera comes on, you can go from depression, from feeling like I didn't even want to get up today, I haven't even showered, I couldn't get myself together, to being the bubbly character that we invent for ourselves when we walk into the audition room, when we're in social environments. So, yeah, it's a difficult one when you've got a lot of time to sit and think. And people think as a performer, they measure success by how many bookings do you have, how many consecutive TV shows are you doing, how many podcasts do you get invited to, how many international tours, how many Broadway, West End things, what record deal have you got? I'm not measuring success by that anymore. I'm completely taking ownership of success. To me is doing work that I'm passionate about, doing it well, and doing stuff that I know I will make myself proud. That's all that matters to me. Do good shit and enjoy what you're doing.
Is that a new development for you?
I think so. I was on X Factor in 2011, and it's something that has been a blessing to give me that profile and that boost at the start of my singing career, but also just been a fucking nightmare to get away from. Because when you go and try and do West End things, they'll try and bill you as X Factors and try and use it as a name booking or, you know, like a reality TV casting. And it stops me getting in the room a lot of the time. And I had to really fight it. It was hard. And I've insisted that they don't add it. I'll put it in my bio, but I don't want to be billed as that.
Yeah.
Because there's just such a weird expectation of, like, I don't know, just it feels like the goalposts are different for me than everybody else. Like, I feel like I get different feedback. Yeah. And I've done exactly the same work as everybody else. So just trying to find that balance. But yeah, I think a lot of the people who do reality TV struggle with this thing of, I don't even think this is exclusive to reality TV. I think finding momentum in your career and maintaining income and maintaining the takeaway word is momentum. I fucking hate that word. I hate it. And it's one of the reasons why I got screwed over by my record deal straight after X Factor, because they pushed me into recording an album in 8 weeks. I'd written songs before. I had the experience. I was capable. I'd written a song for Talisa before, and then she was one of the judges on the show. And she only found out one day when she just happened to be in the house filming something. She'd already recorded it. It was going to be her next single. And I started singing it in the kitchen. She's like, how do you know that song? And I said, I wrote it for you. Like, I wrote that song for you. And she was like, fuck, madness. Wow. So we've always maintained a really good friendship. And she's being so respectful and lovely to me from day one. But yeah, I just got kind of roped into doing things for momentum. Yeah. Get it out, keep it moving, keep it churning. I'm not a firm believer that all press is good press.
You're not?
I'm not. I don't think that all press is good press. I think if you get a bad review and you're in something and you're shit, and it says that you're shit, like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want to do pieces of work I believe in that I know I can do my best work in.
So did you find yourself doing a lot of things because you had to, because you were forced into it, or how?
Kind of. It's more often than not, yeah. But I've took so much therapy over the last 14 years. I've really struggled with this, you know, the biggest little word is no. And trying to create boundaries and make an environment for myself with a working relationship with my management, with the record label, with, you know, my team. I needed to be able to communicate as expediently as possible, because I can only carry so much. I want to learn as I'm going and I want to improve. And I can't do that if I'm just taking every single thing. I've got to grow. I can't just do things to get money. Money will come and go. And, you know, when I was a hairdresser in Liverpool, got made redundant, eating noodles and keeping myself going, signing on universal credit. Like, I know the struggle, and I'm often dipping back in and out of the struggle. I think I've got better at hiding it. I think a lot of us get really good at presenting the whole, this is what you see on social media, and then we turn it off. And something I've been doing recently on my socials, because my personal life is falling apart, which is like, it's so awful, but like, it's kind of funny. I see myself doing these posts where I'm like, hey, like, I haven't been on for a while. Just want to say hi to everyone. Hope you're having a good day, blah, blah, blah. And then the next video that follows is like a close friends thing. And it's me with my head in my hands being like, this fucking day, I didn't want to get out of bed today. I can just about function, but I've got to keep up appearances. I've got to make sure that the producers that are hiring me have confidence I'm capable of the work. I've got to make sure that my mortgage is paid. I've got to make sure my dog has food and is looked after and has health insurance. Like, there's a myriad of things that we need to keep in the air. And I think it's really fucking hard as a performer to balance that, because one minute you're on stage entertaining 2,500 people in a theatre, 8 shows a week, 6 days a week. And then the next minute you're cleaning bars or toilets or, you know.
I had that experience where I had people coming into my coffee shop being like, "Did I see you in a show?" And I was like, "Fucking don't look at me! You can't see me here."
Yeah. It's like the muggle fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like a bit of a wanky industry term, isn't it? Like the muggles, if you're non-magic folk, the non-performing folk. So yeah, when we go back to doing these corporate jobs or whatever kind of jobs that are not involved with stage work, it feels like you're playing a role.
Well, I'm constantly singing that song from Bugsy Malone in my head.
Which one? Tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
Get the brush. Get the brush.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, so when you auditioned for X Factor, you were like, "Oh, I'm a hairdresser."
Yes.
Were you also a songwriter at that time before you auditioned for X Factor? You said you were.
Yeah.
So you were working as a hairdresser and a songwriter.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'd been recording music from when I was maybe 14 at school because we were lucky enough to have a bit of a gifted and talented music program within our school, which was really helpful for those of us who were neurodivergent, undiagnosed, and leaned into music. So I would stay behind after school. I took my GCSEs a little bit earlier with the music team. We toured Barcelona with a gospel choir. I was the lead singer. We had a studio set up. We did a school album. So I really got into it and worked with a producer that was training as well at the time. The recordings are shocking, Lewis. I won't lie to you. They're fucking awful. My voice was breaking. I didn't know my sound. You know, trying to do Al Green, Let's Stay Together when you're 13 and you've never been kissed. It's a lot. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was good. It was really good experience. So that was my third time auditioning for X Factor, and I'd been there 2 years, 3 years before.
Yeah, with a boy band.
Well, the boy band had been on the show.
Okay.
And they got on, and they came fifth, I believe. Then one of them had a bit of a wobble, and I think, I don't even know what happened, but he left. Mm-hmm. They auditioned for somebody else. I was on holiday. My friend just sent it to me on Facebook. It had just become a thing, 2007. So I got this, like, I don't know, a poke or something on Facebook, and someone said, there's auditions, you should go. I went, auditioned on the Friday. On the Monday, I was on the front cover of the Liverpool Echo, and we were turning the Christmas lights on in Liverpool. We were recording in studios. We were up and down the country gigging. So I had experience. I ended up dating one of the guys in the band for 5 years. Yeah, we came out together. We did everything together. It was like sexual awakening, I think, of relationship and understanding who I was and what the industry was. And I felt really safe that I had a mentor that was really helpful. And I auditioned a couple of years after the band for X Factor.
On your own?
On my own, solo artist. Tried to reinvent myself. I mean, I had a full face of Dream Matte mousse on. I had shaved hair, bleached silver icy toners on my hair, and like All Saints knit V-neck. And I got there, I sang, I think, Stevie Wonder, and was like, so what do you think? And they were like, not sure. Because, you go through like 3 rounds before you even see the judges. So that was the protocol. So that was a bit scruffy. I didn't get it. And they kept it. They used me for a lot of the B-roll. So it was very, okay, we think this will work really well for you. Here's me being groomed and manipulated.
Oh, so they, in terms of what's going to work, like your look or your songs, or what do they do?
They wouldn't really give you advice towards the look and the songs.
Okay.
They kind of tell you to be as big as you could be, and that was it. So when I say that I was groomed, I mean that there was manipulating going on, which in TV, you would call it producing. In theatre, we'd call it directing.
Okay.
So it's the same fucking thing of, Marcus, do you know what I think would be a really good idea and it'll get you more airtime and I think this will work? If you say to the camera, hi, I'm Cisco and you're watching ITV2, The Extra Factor, and I do all this stupid, cheesy shit to the camera, and it didn't get me any clout. It made me look like one of the joke contestants.
Yeah.
So
do you know that that's happening at the time?
No, I didn't have a clue. You just think that they're all part of this team, that everybody who's working there sits in one big group meeting and there's one boss who, speaks to the 1,000 people who are working there. there was no communication amongst a lot of them. They just each had different jobs, would go and go, that will work, that won't. It's...
And by the time it gets on TV, it's gone through however many layers, I guess, of people.
3 to 4 auditions.
So did you have a relationship with them when you went back 2011? Was there any kind of a relationship, or was it like different people?
So I went in 2007. I went in 2008. Skipped 2009. And then Liverpool was 2011. So I was like, this is the first time there's auditions in Liverpool. Like, this is it for me. And my friend Mark was the first person to ever audition in Liverpool. And me and him had started training at the gym together. And we were like prepping our songs and throwing music ideas back and forth. And Mark went on, and he won't mind me saying this, he didn't feel like he did his best performance. It didn't really go well for him. And he said, okay, laughed it off. I'm going to move on. And I followed that. And I think he really set the stage for me, set the tone for me so I could go in, sing my face off. And everyone was like, oh, this is like, we've got someone who's a singer, which really helped. But when I went back, I realized how to play the system. I realized you don't do any of that to the camera. That doesn't benefit me. I'd watched the algorithm of people being manipulated. I said less. I didn't even say I'm a songwriter. I didn't say I've been in a boy band, Eton Road. They came 5th on X Factor.
Oh, you didn't say any of that?
Didn't say shit to them. I just said, hi, I'm a hairdresser and I want to be a singer. I want everyone to know me and be a singer and, you know, earn money and travel the world. I live in a council flat with my mum and I'd like a better life. I'd like a more colourful life. I'd like more options and opportunities.
I watched it this week in preparation. You said you wanted to shop at Marks and Spencer's. Now that has haunted me since, I swear to God. But you know what? There is something very special about shopping at Marks's, and I still prefer it to like Waitrose, a car, like any of that shit. Like Marks's is still the top dog for me. I like Marks and Spencer's. Even when I'm getting like ready-made meals, I'm like, oh yeah, £8, cool.
People forget I was raised by white women. Like, I grew up in that community. Like, I can taste the difference. Yeah.
Wait, so you're on TV, right? What I want to know is about, what was it like? Were you out when you're on TV?
I was out to most friends and some family. And I was outed by the show on the first performance.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, live or TV? What do you mean first performance?
So on the first live show.
You were outed,
They outed
on the
me.
first live show. How did they out you?
So we'd gone to judges' houses in the August, which was over in Los Angeles. So we went to film that
And Gary?
with Gary Barlow.
What's Gary doing living in LA?
He wasn't living there. He was... He brought his mum with him.
Yeah,
God
like,
love her. She was so sweet.
It's like you're in Chester, mate.
Literally, we know you're in Cheshire, like crack on. So yeah, we went over to LA, which was really exciting. And I remember we got papped by Heat magazine when we got off at LAX, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is fucking like crazy." We'd been sat, you know, drinking with all the virgin hostesses and getting pissed the whole way there, just like saying it, like, what an experience, what a journey. Like someone's flying us to America. Anyway, we got there, shot judges' houses, and it went well for me. And quietly, somebody gave me the nod to say, you're going to be okay. You're through. But I had to just pretend like I didn't know. A few people got the nod to say you'll be through.
Why did they do that?
Because they favour certain people who work there in the production team. And it's pretty much the same team that does Britain's Got Talent as well. They chop and change you, but they spill.
I suppose they've got a TV show to make, so they're thinking about casting as well. Like, what's it going to look like on TV and the live shows? Yeah.
But we would become so emotional because we'd been away from home for so long. They'd wake us at 5 a.m. and keep us filming till 2 a.m. Oh, wow. No sleep. Like, club, another club, train, bus, job centre, noodles, back to it, like blow dries. It was a lot. And just before we went to judges' houses, I'd been in Ibiza for a week, so you can imagine the fucking state I was in, I was like, oh God.
Want to calm down?
Literally like weeping as soon as the cameras were off, because I learned to kind of shield myself. But yeah, we were filming in LA. We ended up going to this amazing shoot location for judges' houses. We then went over to Robbie Williams' actual house, sat there, walked through his house. It was unbelievable.
What was Robbie involved? Oh,
He was the guest judge.
The guest judge. Okay, yeah.
It was unbelievable. As a good route round his house. He's the reason I've got Chow Chow, and I've always had like Sharpays or Chows, because he had those dogs.
Oh, I was like, thinking, well, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. He had 12 dogs in the house. They were running around. It was fucking crazy.
Who's looking after those dogs?
I don't think it was Ada, but somebody was doing it. Yeah. So we were there, and I remember sitting having a large glass of red wine with Robbie Williams and Gary Barlow, and sitting in this fucking mansion, gated property in Los Angeles, and thinking, how the fuck have I got from a council estate here? Like, and how do I manage this? How do I move forward with it? So I said to Robbie and to Gary, what am I doing about this sexuality thing? Because I feel like I haven't told anybody. I haven't openly had the conversation, and I'm feeling pressure. The researchers and the people who were taking the interviews are really pushing me to say something, and I don't feel comfortable to be doing it. It's a big thing for me to go out there and say to everybody. My grandparents were in their 80s, didn't know. They thought that my partner from the boy band was my housemate. You know, they'd give us a couple of quid to go on holiday, like £30 in an envelope. Get yourself something nice at the airport, lads. You know, get yourselves a few beers and whatever. And we did, and, you know, we were a great family. It all worked. But I felt the pressure, and I didn't want to have to out myself. And then a newspaper that's not favoured in Liverpool, historically, decided to print on the front page a picture of me and my partner, and made a whole big story about it. So then that gave the researchers enough ammo to grill me about it. So those 2 minutes that you see when it goes, Marcus Collins, and then it's an interview, this week we're going to do Big Bang Week, and I'm going to lose my fucking shit, whatever. That takes over an hour and a half worth of interview questions so that they can get 3-4 sound bites, video clips, and then, you know, they'll use the choreo and different bits and bobs to fill that 2 minutes out. While that's playing, you're assembling on the main stage with the dancers, looking at the judges, live audience, shaking like a shitting dog, ready to go for the red light to come on and you start performing. Like, you...
And are you hearing it for the first time?
Yes. So they're playing the 2-minute video behind me. I'd already spoken to the researcher and said, hey, this, like, thing has come out in the paper. I don't want to talk about it. Please, can we not mention it? It's really... I'd rather not. And know that this format doesn't work for people. So I don't want to do it. I've got this far. I'll go out first. Please don't put me in that position. And she reasoned with me for about 45 minutes. And she said, you do realize we have to talk about it. You're going to have to. And I said, okay, so what's the easiest way we can do this? What's the most painless way of doing it? And she said, we'll just, you know, skim over it. So she, you know, they ask a question. You have to put the question into the answer for them to get the soundbite.
Okay.
So I said, this week's been really tough. A newspaper printed something, personal details about me. And I found it really difficult having people talk about me, and people have big opinions on stuff that I've kind of kept to myself and my friends and family. And as I said that, the whole studio screen, all the walls behind me was that image.
Oh my! The headlines.
The headline of me and him. So I was like, well, that's me out then. Like, and then the next minute I heard Marcus Collins, and then Moves Like Jagger started, and I went, take me by the hand, I know you. And like the whole time, you'll see, if you watch it back, I am physically like, I'm in freeze. I fight, flight, or freeze, and I froze, and I was convinced that because they'd done that to me, they screwed me over. I was like, I'm not going to let them do that to me again. Like, if they're going to play dirty, I'm going to polish the shit out of this so that I can keep moving forward, and I'm going to make something out of this situation. The next day, I was so exhausted, and they would flash up on the screens,
different contestants on the Sunday. Well, we would rehearse, before we go and lip sync that nonsense and do whatever we needed to do for the guest performer and all of that. And they'd flash 2 different contestants on the screens, and we started to learn that the contestants that were flashed were the ones that would end up in the bottom 2.
Oh, really?
So whether they knew that was happening or not, we cracked the code amongst ourselves and were like, what's going on here? So anyway, I saw my picture flash up, and as the results were being announced of who got the most votes and who was going through, I didn't think I'd done a good performance. I wasn't happy. I was obviously still shell-shocked of what had gone on, my first time on TV performing like that. And I just couldn't stop crying. I was inconsolable that the whole situation had unfolded. And I think it was in that moment, I did get through, obviously, but they left me to last. And I said to Gary, why did they do that to me? Why did they leave me to last? They could see I was desperately upset. They knew I was through. Why did they film and why did they post it? And he said, you need to just understand that this is a TV show. And the more that you give them, the more that they're going to do. And I thought, wow. Because he didn't even really take much from the higher up producers, the execs. He had a guy called Ben who would come in and pretty much re-script everything that he would read at the table. He was a very separate entity, refused to be managed as such by them. I don't think he enjoyed the whole process very much. But he was a good laugh most of the time. But yeah. He basically told me to play the game. And I was like, can you give me any more than that? He said, what do you think is missing from the other contestants when you watch it back? And I was like, everyone's moaning, everyone's complaining, everyone's like struggling. He said, okay, figure it out, do the opposite. So I was like, got it. So I need to go on and switch it on. I need to walk into that stage, into that space, fucking own it and act like I'm on the shop floor in the salon, that it's my salon. This is how I'm going to do it. This is how we're running things. Hello, welcome. I'm Marcus. This week's been so amazing. And I, what's the word for it? Toxic positivity. I went in with that. And do you know what? Worked like a fucking charm. Got me right to the final. And that's where I wanted to be. I didn't want to win. I knew that sounds so conceited and awful to say. And, the Little Mix girls won't mind me saying either, that we were both, all of us, so exhausted by the end of it. People were having to come in and get adrenaline fucking injections. And
oh, wow.
People were falling ill and we hadn't stopped. Auditions started in March and it was now the second week in December. We'd been away from home. People were struggling with their mental health. People were struggling with food. Some people were struggling with substances, like relationships. It was just a fucking nightmare. And the only way to get through it was to smile and make the best of the situation, because you're constantly told, look how lucky you are to be here. Out of 82,000 people that auditioned, you're still here and you did it. You need to get up. You need to be grateful. Still never met Simon Cowell in my life, but was forced to thank him on my album and all of that. I still don't. The reason I don't release music and I'm not a solo artist as such anymore is because I'm still in a contracted deal for another 11 years.
Wait, so from when?
From 2011.
So you were in a
25 years.
contracted deal for 25 years?
Correct.
And so what's happening with you now?
I do theatre. I perform as other people. I perform as a hired voice for other people because...
What does that contract say?
It says I can't... Basically, that they own and made the brand Marcus Collins.
Oh, my God.
My name, my family name, my bank name, they own. Essentially, for any kind of conquest, they're entitled to a portion of profit from anything that I do for the next quarter of my life while I go into my prime
years. And there's so much, they grab these people from normal life, and then you're learning it on the go. And contracts like that should be illegal. Well, it should be illegal. Yeah. Is there any way, have you ever thought about getting out of it? Or what would that mean to get out of it?
I've spoken to some people who have got out of it.
other people who've won the show, other people who've taken part in the show, and it's not easy. And the management company that we were with, we were all told that we had to sign with that management company, otherwise we wouldn't be able to do the show. They'd made a deal amongst themselves that the management were going to be booked and we had to go with them. It's not as easy as it seems. It's not as easy as it sounds. But you would think if there was money to be made, they would bank on the winner, the runner-up, the third place, and try and invest into that, because they're still putting me out on the UK tour. I'm still going to be known and associated with the show, so surely they'd want you to do well. What I found, having friends who still worked on the show and remaining tight with colleagues who I'd worked with, and people who I had met after it who'd got into the show, they blacklist you. They won't use your music. They won't. You'll notice with ITV and X Factor TV shows, Britain's Got Talent, someone will sing something, they will buy the license for it, the rights to use it, and it'll be on an advert as well at the same time. So ITV's got a catalogue of music that is okay. So every week for X Factor, we'd submit 5 songs. They would submit like 2 songs. And then ultimately you'd have to come to an agreement between the head of music what the best option was. But realistically, I could refuse to sing it, but they'd be like, it's stalemate, it's not going to go anywhere. You have to do it. So trying to get out of these things, to answer your question, I'm just going around the houses there, but trying to get out of it is not as simple as it sounds. Trying to fight to have your say is almost impossible. And yeah, the whole thing was just so stressful when I think back to it. Yeah, they blacklist you. And it wasn't just me that it happened to. Because years afterwards, you might notice with like, if there's a new series and say Flare East, for example, has a new song out, or that something they're promoting, you'll hear it in the background of like, or Little Mix stuff will be in the background whilst they're filming scenes, and it'll be playing, like Dermot will be talking, they're at the auditions, and you'll hear it in the underscore of whatever's going on. But yeah, they stop you from doing it. They won't even support you quietly.
Wow.
They completely stop you from moving forward. If you knew half the stuff that has actually like gone on.
Is this stuff, did you have quite a quick lesson about the industry on that TV show? Or is it something that you learn retroactively? Like, did you look back and go, wow, that was going on?
That's an interesting question. I think that so many things were happening so fast every day that there was never a moment where you feel safe and you can sit and absorb what's going on. I think as well, if you have had the kind of upbringing and you've come from the background that I have, you're kind of used to the instability of it all and the not knowing. And it didn't feel as bad because I had a couple of quid from a Marxies commercial that we did for M&S. It didn't feel as bad because I could afford to take myself out. It didn't feel as bad because I could look after friends and family. My bills were paid. I had prospects. So you kind of, yeah, how can I say it? You kind of feel grateful for the opportunity because it could be so much worse. So you're further ahead than you were. But when you're looking around and being like, this, retrospectively, they didn't look after us. They didn't check in on us. They didn't take our mental health seriously.
It's funny, I saw a clip of Simon Cowell going around saying that his biggest regret with One Direction was not owning the name One Direction, so he could like basically force a reunion to happen, whereas he can't at this present time. And I thought that was so interesting, the fact that maybe those contracts happened after he's like learned that lesson. Do you know what I mean?
The lesson was Jedward.
Oh, really?
They refused to sign with their management and owned pretty much everything of their own. They refused. And that's really going against the grain for Psycho and at ITV. So while that all was going on behind the scenes, he thought, oh, these two pair of clowns, that's not going to be anything. They're a joke act. It's a bit of a Wagner or, like Rylan when he went on, and it was just a bit like entertainment. It wasn't like, oh, this is going to be, you know,
A serious
taking a
contender,
serious artist. And them boys made millions. They made a lot of money. And that's because they owned their name. They could choose what they wanted to do. They didn't have to answer to, the psycho tax.
You talked about your mental health and your anxiety, and obviously I'll move on from the X Factor, but I'm thinking, how did you deal with your anxiety, or is it a part of exasperating it, having your name out there, being under scrutiny? You're now like an out queer person, a queer person of color. You know that people react differently, like media, public reacts differently, whether they know it or not. What did that do for you as a person, as an individual, like behind the cameras are off, like when the show's over?
Lots of pressure not to fuck up. Felt like I had to be visible and at the forefront because there were people depending and relying on me. And I'd get lovely messages and cards and DMs, and I'd meet people all the time that'd say, because of you, I was able to come out, or because of you, I was able to, you know, I felt seen. There was nobody like you. Like, there was Bruno Mars, who was like, you know, a short brown person that was singing on TV, and that was fucking it. Like, and then you came along, and I don't know, I just felt responsible, and I wanted to make my community proud. I wanted to be visible. At that point, I thought, I'm here now. I want to do it. That was one of the upsides. The downside that I took away from it was sleepless nights, insomnia, panic attacks, really super anxious in big crowds, terrified of dropping the ball, terrified of saying something I shouldn't have said and accidentally upsetting somebody, terrified of doing something that was politically incorrect or making a faux pas on social media with, you know, a rapidly growing fan base and people constantly saying, well, you're a role model. I'm not a role model. I'm a hairdresser off a council estate in Liverpool who was on ITV for a few months. Do you know what I mean? But people would ring the salon in Liverpool thinking I was there Monday to Friday, and then I just went down to X Factor on the Saturday and did stuff. So people were trying to book in with me. I don't think it clicked with a lot of people that I was fully engaged in what I was doing, and it took my full year, everything I had to like get myself there. But yeah, I had issues with food. I had issues with my mental health. I had to beg to speak to somebody for some counselling while I was there. On one of the shows, there was another contestant who felt really, really low and suffered with depression as well. Me being 22 and them being quite like, they were over the age of 18, but still quite young. We didn't understand the difference with antidepressants and stuff. And they were like, oh, I take these. Do you want one? And I was like, yes. I'm burnt out. I'm at my wit's end. And I don't know what that bitch gave me, but she gave me something. And I cried for 2.5 hours to the point where they had to go and get my mother out of the holding area and be like, come and speak to him because we can't get him to make sense. Like, he's inconsolable. And I just felt massively overwhelmed. I can't do it. I'm going to let everyone down. I'm not going to remember my words. I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to embarrass my family. I'm so tired. I haven't had enough time to rehearse what I need to do. And they're making me go out and do 2 songs this week, not one. I've got to do 2 lots of choreography, 2 lots of singing, and it's long. And I'm scared. I'm fucking scared. And I feel like I've got no support. I'm isolated. Fuck me, I can feel it all coming back. Like the stress of it and the panic.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't make TV like that anymore.
No.
Because of just how much our understanding of mental health and exploitation and all of the kind of...
It's unethical.
The assessments that go into it, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't know, you will know more about like personally, but like I do feel for the little mixed women, you know, because even now, as they've grown older and things have happened, right? we witness like young girls getting like seriously scrutinized on TV and so they grow up in different ways. And you think, well, you can see why things have happened the way they've have happened. And something you said reminded me of. Did you watch the Tyra Banks?
I was just about to say it's aged like the Tyra Banks fucking.
And how much of that was like, that could not happen again because of just the duty of care that's involved. But one of the winners said her career was actually hampered by the fact that she was on America's Next Top Model. And you kind of alluded to a similar dynamic happening with you being attached to X Factor so much as you're going forward in your career. Like, so you leave X Factor and you do an album.
Yes.
What was that experience like?
Rushed. I went for my first meeting with the record label on either the 1st or the 2nd of January. The album was out on Mother's Day.
How much of it is you then? How much of that is you as an artist? Like,
I worked and lived in a room above a pub in Ripley in Surrey, and I hired a car and I drove to a studio. I think it was called Metrophonic, and they'd had everybody who's anybody had recorded there, like the people on the wall, like Cher, Michael Jackson, like you name it, everyone had recorded there. And I would go every morning. I'd drive myself in by myself, living by myself, away from everyone. I just had my suitcases and me, and I would go there. And each day I would work with a different songwriter, and we would come up with ideas and get it down as quickly as we could. So they said, what do you want to record your album about? And I was like, the only thing I know about is relationships, because people talk to me so much in the salon. I want to talk about love. I want to talk about connections. I want to talk about, I've just ended my 5-year relationship during this experience, and I've got so much to talk about of how I felt, how he felt, how I want to move forward. So my album is pretty much songs from the heart, and I tried to shake it up and do as many different styles of things that were inspiring me at the time. The songs that sound like Stevie Wonder, the songs that sound like Anastasia, the songs that are giving me like Sam Sparrow vibes, there's songs that sound like Gabrielle. There's like all the stuff that had lit me up as a child was in there. And I thought, this is great. In hindsight, I now realize that I was being used as a guinea pig to rush that out. It was presented to me as, you should go and be the first person on the X Factor national tour around the United Kingdom arenas who has an album out and you can promote it. So you can do your songs from the show and then you end with your lead single. And we worked right up till the release of the album. The album was out. They did all, like, the promo was included. When everyone else would have days off, I would be doing This Morning or, Lorraine or the National Lottery, doing different bits and bobs to still promote the album and the single. We shot the video very, very quickly. The whole thing, I was guinea pigged to just see what they could do and how fast they could do it. And the reason I think that they blacklist you once they've kind of disposed of you is because they want to make space. If anyone's going to take the main lane for X Factor of that year, it will be their winner and nobody else will get a look in. So it wasn't just me who found it difficult. Little Mix had to be the main focus. They were the first girl band for a reason. There was talks about it the year before to make sure there was, enough people to put a girl band. They'd always wanted that. That was always going to be in the pipeline. But they made it very difficult for every other contestant to move on and to do things. Like Amelia Lilly came second runner-up. She went on to get a record deal as well and have some great singles. Misha B did exactly the same.
Misha B was your year.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. She's good people. Misha, she was lovely. Really.
I actually, do I follow some? There was something came up recently about her on my TikTok.
Yeah.
But that was big. When you're like in person of color watching that on TV, like it was big for us at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the whole vibe of what was going on and thinking, I started this podcast saying I'm going to be completely authentic and honest and tell the truth. And I'm going to do that. And this might sound shady.
Go for it.
But it's fucking not. This is the tea and this is what happened. Like, do you ever find when you go to auditions or you're in a space for something, for a job, whatever, that people naturally just herd and group together?
Mm-hmm.
And POCs do that naturally. I don't know what it is, but if there's a corner and you see a black person and they're by themselves, you'll go join that person. Then if somebody else comes in, they'll be like, oh, there's my people. I'm going to go stand over there. It's not just black people who do this, but I notice it because that's how I show up. And there was many communes of all the people of colour from X Factor, and we'd sit in one of the bedrooms in the house that we were in and discuss how we felt it was going. Like, had anybody been noticing microaggressions? Were people being disrespected? Was there any unfairness? We'd also get absolutely roasted by each other. And why your knees ashy though? Why your elbows grey? We just take the piss out of each other. It was just fun and games. People felt more confident and comfortable to drop M-bombs or do whatever they needed to do because they were amongst people. It was family, it was home, it was safety. And that would go on. And I remember the whole experience Misha went through and how stressful that was for her because she felt she didn't have a voice. And for somebody who's so articulate and outspoken, I think it was really hard to watch. And it was really hard to support her because there's not really much you can do other than be there for that person and say, I see you. I know that this isn't who you are, but you're being made out to be something else by the people who, are judging us. And it's challenging. It's really difficult. They were going at each other. The judges were going at each other, so we couldn't expect them to not.
Well, I mean, there was that famous beef between Talisa and Gary, and then
Fag Ashbray.
Yeah, the Fag Ashbray.
Yeah.
And then I remember, Talisa just saying that to me should be on TV, but that wasn't the first. So before you were on, what was it? I wish I researched this before I came on. I just remembered. Do you remember Danny Minogue?
Yeah.
Basically outing. Didn't she out someone on? She basically was basically a contestant sung a song that was written by a woman, and he changed the pronouns so he was singing to a woman instead of singing to a man. And Danny Minogue was like, if the rumors are true, you didn't have to change the pronouns.
Lovely performance. I love what you did to that. So progressive, wasn't she, Danny? Fucking hell. Oh my God. Who was that?
I need
Blackpool, turn the fucking lights on.
Yeah. It was. I can.
Was
see
it
his
Aidan
face.
Grimshaw?
No, it was a mixed race guy. Oh my God! I'm gonna actually just Google it.
Please.
Daniel
Johnson.
Daniel
yes.
Johnson. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I remember, and it was outed. But these are just things that would not happen on TV now, And it's so funny because now she was doing the Kiss the Boy and Kiss the Girl season and stuff like that. Well, she never had a problem.
She's such a big ally, isn't she? We're so grateful, I'm sure Daniel Johnson's fucking thrilled. Someone's knocking at your door.
It was that show was so massive. I mean, it must have been. People still talk about things today, like Nicole Scherzinger's teeth in the mic.
Do you remember that shit? She snatched that shit so fast, didn't she? But she'd been played in the Pussycat Dolls. She'd seen how that went down before. Yeah. She wasn't playing. She was like, give me that shit. This is how I'm going to sing it now.
She knows what she's doing. And that's part of what makes her fabulous, what I mean? Yeah. She's a diva.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're transitioning, right, from X Factor.
Yes.
And you're working, you're going into musical theatre.
It was always on the cards. It was something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But after 18 months of having my album go, I think it was top 10. I don't know if it was number 5 or number 7 or whatever. And then the single, I think, was mid-weeks, number 3. It was doing well on iTunes. And then I think it landed at number 5 or number 7. Honestly, I blocked it out. I bought a bottle of Cristal champagne with one of my paychecks and had it next to the first print of my album. And I was like,
this does well, and if it like gets top 10, I'll be so happy. If it gets top 5, like I'll open the champagne, like I'll be so excited. And I didn't open the champagne; it sat there because I didn't even celebrate it. Like it was that stressful for me. So for the next 18 months, I was in the studio, constantly working on music, working with different artists, gigging, sometimes 2 or 3 gigs a day. I was out there because I'm a grafter, I'm a hard worker, and I want to earn. If I have opportunity, I will work and I will keep going. I was about 8 stone, I was so skinny, so skinny from being on the road, not looking after myself properly, hammering the gym, just constantly, they say the TV adds a bit of weight on you. So I was conscious of that. Very conscious.
Was there like a feeling of like, this is my chance where I just gotta go?
Yeah, this is my one chance. If I don't do this, I'm straight back where I was. Like, there's no safety net for me. That's it.
Yeah.
You're back on the council estate. You have to make this work. It's unnegotiable. This is what has to happen. So after all that time of recording songs and the label giving me shitty Ollie Mayers cast-offs that I was like, this sounds like a nursery rhyme. This sounds like a children's calypso nursery rhyme. And also getting the PR, the feedback of how they thought my A&R feedback of how they thought I should present myself. No more tattoos. You can't wear hats. You're not allowed to swear in interviews. Be yourself, but lock it in, like tone it down. You can't be doing this, you can't be doing that. I'd notice on photo shoots and stuff, they'd have the lights so bright, or they'd pick a saturation that would make me look lighter skinned than I was on all the things. And I'm like, you're molding me into this non-offensive, light-skinned, mixed race person. So I actively pushed against it, and I had to do it for my own integrity. So as soon as I'm on holiday, or if I'm in any kind of sunshine, best believe I'm smothering myself in oil. I want to be dark. I've got more tattoos covered in them. Like, I'm doing me. I wear hats on red carpets now because who cares? It's a hat. They were trying to make me non-offensive so that I would retain my white mainstream audience. And they looked at my demographic, and it was women between the ages of like 16 to 45. So I needed to be non-offensive, and the ones that the mums love, obviously, all of that. Which is why I released the Mother's Day album, to try and capture that market.
Interesting. That's so interesting.
And then theatre happened, as there was rumours that I was coming towards the end of my arrangement with the record deal, which a journalist kindly let me know by printing it in the paper.
Oh, so you don't have that conversation?
No. I texted him. I said,
Oh my God.
James, why have you written this about me? Is it true? And he's like, I've got it from a source, and I wouldn't have written it if it's not.
What is the reason? You don't have reasoning, no?
There was no reasoning. Well, I later found out, allegedly, that there'd been a falling out at the record label with a certain person who owns a certain radio station. So myself, Alex Burke, JLS had all been blacklisted from being played on a certain radio station.
Fucking hell.
So they culled 3
black
acts of
artists.
colour because they had some fight amongst themselves, and we were the collateral damage of it. So that really went against airplay. We couldn't get playlist A, we couldn't get airplay because there was a falling out with the label and the person who owned the station.
How different would it be now where...
It still goes on. And it's all TikToks, and it's TikTok and streaming.
Yeah.
And Spotify.
But then you have more... Don't you have more control over who hears your stuff now, or no?
From what I'm seeing taking place in the industry, not really.
Not really. I mean, it's
impossible to do well.
Every time I hear something mad about it.
You've already got to have the following. You've got to have the following. That's why they're doing these songs that are just 15-minute clips on TikTok. People who've never sang before in their lives, or people who get a break. Like, it's not ethical, but it is an avenue for people, and it is working, and it is generating a lot of money.
I heard that Somba apparently will write 10 seconds and post it on TikTok, and if it goes viral, he will write the rest of the song.
I mean, that
That's
sounds
how it's
practical.
but that's how it's working now. That's kind of crazy. Ray was the big example. When you think the thing I find about the industry, all entertainment industries, is so many of the decisions are made by people who are not creative and not artists. So many of the
Across the board. Across the board. That's not just in music, that's in theatre, that's in film. It's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. Like, I don't even think that's just in our industry either. I really don't. I've been for interviews for stuff, session styling. I still keep my hand in with hairdressing when I'm not on stage. It's a passion of mine. Got bills to pay. I'm not embarrassed about a trade that I do that brings me joy, and I'm happy to do it.
My mum's a hairdresser.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that why you're always blonde as well?
No, she doesn't have anything to... I think because my mum's a hairdresser, she doesn't have anything to do with my hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Always good to get the advice, though, isn't it?
She did it when I was... Well, do you know what she does? She does the old deers. She does the old
right.
deers. Yeah.
Nice.
And she does the blue rinses and stuff like that.
Okay.
She's got clippers, but she hasn't used them in a long time.
Yeah. Hairdressing and barbering are two different, completely two different disciplines. When I started hairdressing, you literally did one wet cut on, European hair, and that's it. You only have to use the clippers. No one, was doing fades back then. And I'm talking, 2004.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing. Anyway, what I was saying that is, I have been to interviews for hairdressing and been told which products to use, how to do somebody's hair. I've had to do test days on the manager of the salon. Not a hairdresser. I haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing, but they'll tell me exactly what I should be using. I do it and it doesn't go well. It reflects poorly on me. But it's them driving this thing of saying this is what it's going to be. This is why having the strength to speak up and say no has become such a big thing now for me, where I'm like, that's not going to work. I can tell you now it's impractical and it's not going to give you the desired effect. If you listen to me, I might be able to advise, how about we try this product? This will work on your hair. You also don't have the right hair texture for what you're asking. Your hair's too heavy. The cut doesn't, there's a million things that go into it. What I'm trying to say ultimately is there's too many people talking about shit they know nothing about. And because they're in a position of power, they're flexing it. And a lot of people are suffering as a result of that in a lot of ways.
You're right in the fact that it manifests in every single area of life.
Yeah.
It's people with the money who get to
I saw it
put
recently.
their money in places.
This was a recent interview that I had for the hairdressing thing, and this person was so rude and so unfriendly and uncooperative. It just blew my mind. I thought, wow, this is society now. This is just what it's like, Do you ever find that? Have you ever done a job where you've gone in, sorry to take over your interview, but do you ever find that when you go for auditions or you book a job and, how can I word this? You're taking advice from somebody who hasn't lived your experience or who doesn't have your skill set. They're trying to tell you or to maneuver you into their way of thinking.
Yeah. And I think I've learned how to deal with it because in the past, I haven't dealt with it very well, and I've got angry, and I've got
It's a human response.
Yeah, and I found myself in a corner where I feel like I'm fighting everybody.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn how to manage my emotions and be strategic about things. Because when you tell someone they're just chatting shit, suddenly you're the bad guy.
Well, is that not the black experience, though, of having to sit, observe, and then strategically choose your next move? I don't know, the mixed race experience is I've always got an eye on the door of, how can I get out of here if this gets a little bit thingy, if it gets a bit dangerous or I find myself in a situation. I think we do have to be very careful about how we respond to people, especially when the people haven't had our lived experience. And if we try and feed that back, instant defense. So you find yourself being the angry black person.
So the industry has changed a lot in the sense of there's more representation, there's more people in it, there's more of an awareness.
Yeah.
Have you noticed much of a change in terms of not just with race, but with like mental health stuff since you started in, say, musical theatre?
I can't say I have. I can't say.
On both counts?
Yeah. I can't say I have. I think we've all got older. So I started, my first musical theatre job was a tour of Hairspray 2013, which my management put me in thinking, this is, something he wants to do, but a way that we can just block him out for the year, snip it. The label wants to get rid of him, think they're looking to do that. So they dropped me both in the same phone call, and then I had to go on stage and do that. It was my debut of being lead on a show. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So there was no duty of care for how are you going to feel. You have to go on stage and still get on with it. I explained what had happened to my company manager at the time. He was like, curtain's going up in 15 minutes. Kids, get on with it. This is your job. You just need to do it. So that's why it's easy to dissociate when you do these things, and it becomes a thing. You just numb. You just put yourself on the back foot. You're not priority. The work is a priority. Everyone does that, though. I imagine people have got to go into work and they sit at their desk and they answer their questions. They do their emails. They sit at the water cooler and pretend that they're fine when really they're going through a divorce, or their partner's cheating on them, or they've miscarried and they haven't been able to tell anyone, or their mental health is bad. Might have cancer. It could be anything. People struggle with shit at work. Our industry is so open, where people are naked next to each other. People are picked and chosen based on look, attitude, reputation, following, profile. You can be booked sheerly for the fact that you're black. You can be booked sheerly for the fact that you're Asian, for the fact that you're plus size, for the fact that you're queer, trans, non-binary. Like, there's a million different reasons why we can take work, or you might just know somebody. I don't feel like it's not the same as LinkedIn. Spotlight is not the same as LinkedIn. It's a very different employment procedure, I think. And if you went for an interview and they said to you, memorize 4 pages of text, and I don't know, on the first interview, you have to sort of hold a meeting and do a demonstration for 15, 20 minutes using your body. And then you've also got to do a talk to everyone, a public speaking thing for like 15 minutes. And you put all of that extra work in, you put all of that time into presenting all of these things. You make sure your physicality is right. You're in the gym, you're doing all the shit that you can do to make that happen, to get in there and to be told no, that you're not right. And not just once, over and over and over again. And there is nobody assessing or adjudicating how many no's that you get back to back. You're expected to just develop a thick skin and to just get on with it because it's your job. Be grateful. This is the industry you chose. You knew that being in theatre or being on stage or, it wasn't a proper job. Well, it's not a proper job. Well, it is actually. It really is. And more care and attention needs to go into performers, because...
Is there support out there for performers? Like, we've got union, equity. Do you, in your experience, is there support?
There is support out there. There is the, I think it's called the Equity Actors Charity. I can't remember the full name of it. There's maybe like 2-3 support networks that people can go to if they find themselves in trouble. There's bursaries. There are places that you can go. And I think Spotlight actually have maybe 2 or 3 therapy sessions for each person who is signed up as part of your subscription.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, I found that out recently, that if you need therapy and you can't afford it, there is access out there. I think it's called the Charitable Actors Trust, one of them as well. So there are support networks out there, but, the stage have put something out recently that in the last 12 months, 78% of performers have suffered with anxiety and depression. And the numbers are going up. And that is really worrying. That's really worrying. The industry is, it is shifting, and people of colour are getting through the door for different roles. Roles they probably wouldn't have been seen for. I think that has been a big shift since lockdown and the Black Lives Matter movement. But the numbers are still on the rise. And talking about depression, I think it's 25%, 20% of people suffering with suicidal thoughts and not wanting to be around anymore. And I think people take it for granted just how resilient you need to be to even show up and be a part of this industry. Because if you are neurodivergent, which a lot in my experience, I've been working since 2013, and I am constantly surrounded by neurodivergent people, neurospicy people, my favorite people, who just get it. And, part of having ADHD, part of being autistic, part of the whole spectrum is rejection sensitivity. And it fucking hurts to get a no when you've put all that work in, you've traveled 300 miles on your own, you've got no money, and you're trying to keep your tax money to the side to make sure you can cover that. You're trying to be self-employed. You're trying to be reasonable with your agents and your commissions. You're looking for work on the side. You're doing all of these things. You put all of this time and energy in. You travel down to London. You do your audition. You think it goes well, get great feedback, but it's a no. Or you get to finals, or they cut you in the first round, or it's absolutely brutal. And it doesn't get any easier. It really doesn't get any easier. I think that each time that it happens, because they're usually so spaced out, you forget how much it hurts. And it's sort of, the next rejection will feel like the weight of every single rejection that came before, all at once. And that plays into it as well. If you can't manage your income consistently, you can't manage your lifestyle consistently, you can't manage your happiness consistently, you can't manage your relationships consistently. So if your work isn't grounded, if your income isn't grounded and stable, it affects your relationships, it affects your house, it affects your mind, it affects everything. And it's not that you're not good enough for the job, it's not that you're not worth it, it's not that you can't do it. A million actors out there can do every single job that is posted that's available. It just comes down to favour. And a lot of the times I've spoken to some friends who've got into casting directing and told me a lot of stories that, of how the offers go out. And it would blow your mind. These are the people we're giving straight offers to. These are the people we'll meet for a meeting. These are the people we'll meet for a cup of tea. If everybody else says no, that's the main pool of things, and we'll just go, yeah, no, don't like the look of them. I've heard something about them, blah, blah, blah. It's actually wild to hear what goes on behind the scenes. Yet, a lot of people, what I've heard, oh my God, this is so challenging and how I can express this comment. I've seen people misbehave in jobs. I've seen them be sexually inappropriate. I've called it out. I've seen people be racially inappropriate. I've seen people be homophobic randomly, and make little snide remarks and microaggressions across the board. But for this statement, I'm specifically talking about being sexually inappropriate at work. And I've seen it happen in real time. I've then seen these people go on to book work repeatedly over and over and over again. They've got a CV as long as the day. And it blows my fucking mind that these people are still working. What I'm seeing now is that these people who are in situations where they're being... What I'm seeing now is when people are being put in situations where they're problematic and their history has been problematic, the directors, the producers, the people in the office that we barely ever see as performers are actually doing their due diligence and going around getting reports on people, and they're actually calling the companies, they're calling the company managers, they're calling them and saying, how was this person to work with? Were there complaints about them? Were they well behaved? Were they on time? Did they show up as they should have? And it is now affecting people getting work, which affects the mental health of the rest of the company. So in response to that, I don't think that we are being looked after in the way that we have supreme help and our unions the strongest or as strong as Broadway. I do think that there is help out there and there are options if you are struggling. I've leaned on them. I've used them. I think that the people in the office are doing more than they have done in the past. But I also think it's an afterthought, and I think they're really scratching their own backs to make sure that they're not taking on a devil that is going to cause them problems with further casting replacements down the line.
I mean, all of that work that you said they do, it's also like, is it not already known? Like people talk anyway. And it's always the case where nobody knew anything until suddenly everybody knew.
Yeah, there's constant talk of these things don't just come out of nowhere. There's no smoke without fire. But obviously people need to be innocent before proven guilty. I think when there's so many complaints about people, when there's so many issues with performers, and it seems to just all be eradicated because they can go in the room and deliver a beautiful scene, or they can put their ballet shoes on or their tap shoes and they're fucking incredible, or they sing
they
their
bring
faces
money.
off. Well, yeah.
Well, they bring money, because yes, that people are innocent until proven guilty, but also like employment is not court, and like as we've discussed, people lose jobs for less.
Yes.
People are like, I don't like the look of him, but suddenly I need like video evidence to not give this like guy a job.
Yeah.
It is funny, and then whenever you see these big scandals blow up, there's never anyone in the back who faces any consequences,
Yeah.
Although actually, I did hear about an agent who got fired because of somebody, and then everyone who was represented by that agent also lost that agent, because the big name who they represented, it was like things were discovered about them. So I guess there are like certain industry consequences. Yeah. One last thing I want to talk about, it might be a bit of a pivot, is I heard you do drag.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
In my spare time, yeah. I've just filmed a show for Channel 4 comedy series, which is coming out this April.
Gorgeous.
Which I'm so excited for. I'm
Big Mood
2, season
Big
2,
Mood 2.
yeah. With Nicola Coughlan and Lydia West, Rupert Everett in our series.
Oh, gorgeous.
It's just so lovely. It was honestly like chewed the ear off him backstage. We had a good laugh in the green room.
Wait, so you doing drag just for this, or?
I do drag in general. Like,
Okay.
I've got like an alter ego, Sissy Elliot.
Sissy Elliot,
Yeah.
love it.
I've been thinking about changing my name to Tony Brixton, but I'm not sure. I think I'm going to stick with Sissy for now. But I am in drag for The Big Mood season 2. And we had the premiere down at the South Bank a couple of nights ago, and it was so, so good.
Gorge.
I play a character called Cher Fryer. And Kyra Thrax is my friend who's also in drag in the show, who plays a character called Tony and Guy. So it's honestly, we have a bit of a feud and a big, face off, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled, Channel 4.
Is there something that you'd do full time?
I don't know. I've thought about it. I spoke to a few different queens about this, and I recently just did Tia Coffee's podcast, and we chatted about it and how queens of colour are represented in the fandom and how the UK audience and the international audiences respond. It's represented. It becomes, you see it. You see it in numbers, you see it in followers, you see it in access, you see it in gigs offered, you see it in the wages, apparently.
It's there. And I think I might have met my quota for reality show, like TV show trauma. I'm at the brink. I don't think I could take any fucking more of that kind of nonsense. But it comes with the territory. I do love doing it. If there's an opportunity for me to put a big pair of boots on, beat my face and wear a back home wig, best believe I'm bringing the biggest hoops out and I'm doing it. Like, I love that shit. I love to play roles, characters, hold my masculinity in the same balance that I hold my femininity, and I just love it. I just think, why not? What's not to enjoy? Putting a costume on and performing as an alter ego. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Do you like? Did you watch the last season of UK vs the World?
Oh, that one's just ended, right?
Yeah.
So I'm up to like Jade's episode. I haven't seen beyond there.
Okay.
So I do know who wins.
I like the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the winner.
Yeah. Kind of cool though, but I feel as though it was. Do you feel like Versus the World is starting to become so predictable that people are like, it's a rigor Morris, girl, rigor Morris.
Do you know what? I haven't actually. I won't lie to you. I watched. I haven't watched it in a few years.
Okay.
So then when they, sorry Tia, because I wanted to come on the show.
Yeah.
When the previous winner comes on to like give the crown to the new winner, I was like, Tia Coffee won.
Yeah. You've got to watch this season. The glow up's gorgeous.
So because I had I got oversaturated, you know.
Yes.
There was a period, 2021 or something, where I was watching like 5 fucking seasons of this thing.
The franchise
Yeah,
has really
and
gone
I was
fast.
like, at some point, none of them mean anything to me. Do you know what I mean? It's just like wigs and fucking eyelashes, and it's like none
the
of it
same
means
choreography, just a different soul delivering it.
So I watched this season of the UK, and I watched this season of UK vs the World, and I haven't watched the American one. I'm still having a break from that.
Okay.
Because I watched it for years.
Yes.
Doesn't it feel different from when it was on when we were younger?
Yeah. So
It feels weirdly.
wasn't it on E4?
I can't even remember where I
In
watched
season
it back in the
1?
day. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I actually, to be fair, the first season I watched was All Stars 2. And then I went back.
All Stars, is that Katya?
Yeah, Katya and Alaska and Detox and obviously Fifi O'Hara, who I actually kind of feel sorry for because, again, we spoke about how production works, but I don't know if you have...
Someone had to play the villain.
Yeah, exactly. And she didn't want to. That was what's crazy, but she was naturally the villain.
Yeah. Honestly, like, if she says it wasn't their colour, but she continues to wear it, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just easier to turn up and smile.
And there's people who have come later who don't mind being the villain and have made a profit out of it. Like
Play Jane.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Do you know what
Loves
I mean?
it. And Mistress Isabel Brooks.
Yeah, and there was... who was the big girl from a few seasons ago who was Arja's family? Do you remember the meme where she sat there? Do you remember the meme where she sat there on her own with the glasses? Who's that?
Oh, when she's sitting... Candy Muse.
Candy
alone
Muse.
in the VIP.
Candy, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I love that shit, you know.
I don't know. I don't know if there's like... Obviously, I did a play where I was a drag queen on it, and that was quite fun. But that's as far as it's ever going to go for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't give woman. Do you know?
Do you know how many bricks are out there earning like dollars? That is wild. Brick.
Well, there's that. I do know enough UK drag race to know that there's this weaponizing your musical theatre talent thing. So there's like, isn't there quite a trope of musical theatre?
Yes.
People going into drag race and then like slaying.
I can assure you, I will not be taking tap shoes if I was to do it. I've always wanted to do it, you know, like, I don't know. It just feels... I wanted to do the Adore Delano or the Courtney Act, who's done the reality TV, like, American Idol, Australian Idol thing, and then go in and, like, be the singer and be the queen that sings.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if I see that for myself now. It was on my bingo card, and now I'm just a bit like, not sure. I'm not sure that's who I am.
Well, you don't have to. Yeah, I guess you don't have to go on. Do you need to go on Drag Race to be do the drag stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've done different bits. I do charity events. I got into doing drag because I did Kinky Boots in the West End.
Oh, so that's what got you into it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd not really done it before. I trained in makeup, but I hadn't gone out in drag or anything. Just, bits and bobs, silly
I
costumes.
feel like there was another queen who was on the last UK who had the same trajectory.
She was on the year after me, I think, maybe. Yeah.
The delusion I do have is that every single time I see a lip sync, I was like, I could have won that lip sync.
Really?
I could have won that lip sync.
I think, probably because you've got the brains. I think your acting experience would help you to absorb the lyrics.
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
the
they don't
songs.
know the song.
Babe, acting through somebody else's song. You could do workshops in it. I'd love to see it.
Sometimes I'm there and I do. I'm like there doing my washing up, and then like I get into like pretending that I'm on the lip sync. Do you know what I mean? To see.
I think a lot of people would like to see that. I think they really would.
Or maybe it is, but maybe we'll do a lip sync for your life.
Okay, let's do it.
Not now.
My God, we could do a double act. Sister.
Wait, so if you're Sissy Elliot, who would I be? Oh, I can't think fast enough for that. Right, listen. I got my final questions for you.
Okay, hit me.
What have you had enough of?
This government. I'm ready for change. I'm ready for the Greens to come in and actually get some stuff done. I am the first person in my generation and 4 generations of my family that is leaning away from Labour. I'm ready for change, and I'm ready for people to be held accountable for the shit that they've done, because I'm fucking sick of it. Honestly, if I don't show you, my lovely.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And what can't you get enough of?
Cauliflower cheese.
Cauliflower cheese, okay, not macaroni cheese.
Put it in me. I love mac and cheese, but the cauliflower one. Like, Jade Thirlwall does the best cauli cheese. I'm going to tell you the secret ingredient. It's breadcrumbs.
Okay.
Put it in.
And Jade is a cauliflower cheese master?
Oh, yeah.
Are we hearing this here first?
I'm not sure, because
Okay.
she's kind of the queen of the roast dinner in the UK. I feel like
Okay.
that's a bit of a thing. She loves a cup of tea and she loves a roast.
Oh, gorgeous.
So, yeah.
Do you get the prep one? I do get the prep one occasionally. The cauliflower cheese and prep.
It's fine.
What's your rating out of 10?
5. I think it's overpriced. Is that the one
Well,
that's got?
yeah, it is,
It's got like the what's it called? Like it's got the crispy bacon on it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. I can make it better.
Mid.
Yeah.
Mid. Fair
What about
enough.
you?
What is my favourite cauliflower cheese?
Well, no. What have you had enough of? What can't you get enough of?
What can't I get enough of? Oh my God. I never answered this question. This has never been asked to me before. I'm panicking.
Well, here we are.
I'm panicking.
You're in the hot seat now, Lewis. Come on.
What can't I get enough of? What can't I get enough of?
You don't even have to keep
Do
it
you know
PG.
what? I've had enough of TikTok, and the problem is that I am kind of addicted to it. I know I'm addicted to it, and I really had a problem. I did delete it from my phone at one point because I was like, I don't even know if I should say this or not. I was like cycling down the road
on TikTok,
scrolling TikTok, and I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill myself if I don't get rid of this. Yeah.
That's a madness.
So I do. I guess that both answers it, because I'm an addict. I have an addict brain, so I both can't get enough of TikTok, and I also have had enough of TikTok.
That's fascinating. It was designed to hook and capture you like that.
Yeah.
So I do have the app. I do maybe one post every year, but a lot of friends send me stuff on there. But I've got an addictive brain, so it's Instagram for me. I'm refusing to sit on TikTok for more than 10 minutes, because once I start, they're like Pringles and you're there all fucking day.
Well, and the ADHD brain is designed for us, and I actually I find myself having to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. And sometimes one will grab my attention. I have to start the countdown again.
I'm gagged. Do you know what? I thought I was the only bitch who did that shit. So do you know what I do that on? This is so embarrassing. You know the suggested friends. Do you still have Facebook?
No.
I'm nearly 40 and I'm like,
has suggested friends
I'm
on
keeping
Facebook,
it. I'm keeping my Facebook because it's got the shit on from like 2007.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to look back at like things, and we laugh at the things that we said many years ago and how awful they were.
But I do it with the suggested friends.
What, just flicking through them?
I'm addicted to looking at who the algorithm is suggesting for me. And then I'm like, oh my God, I've gone for so long. Because, you know, if you do like TV or whatever, people will just find you and then it becomes like your list of friend requests. You can only have so many. It fills up and then it blocks you. So you have to delete people and then like new people will come up.
Okay.
So I have to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, put the phone down. That is such a good
crazy.
tool though.
It
Anyone
is a
with
good
ADHD,
tool.
that is it. Let me like.
It is a good tool, and I need to get off, and it makes me realize I'm not in control. I'm not in control of this. You know, my ADHD brain is searching for something.
What type of ADHD do you have?
Oh my God, what type of ADHD do I have? I have
hyperactive combination.
No, it's attention deficit rather
Right.
than it's not so much hyperactive. It's attention deficit.
Okay.
Yeah. I do have I do have it all. Funnily enough, I was listening to this podcast about it. Sorry, I was supposed to wrap up, but like now that we're here, I was listening to this podcast about it, and he said he was talking to a ADHD psychiatrist, and he said, "What do you say to people who say that ADHD doesn't exist?" And his answer was, "Well, ADHD doesn't. It's a combination of things that together we call ADHD," which I found really interesting.
Yeah,
So
it's a spectrum.
Yeah.
I think I'm a combination of I am a combination inattentive and hyperactive. So I can get loads done, or I can be in a scenario where something's happening that I'm so uninterested in that I'll just be like,
Yeah, I shut down.
I'm not. You could be talking to me about something I'm not interested in, and my brain is like, should have done that laundry earlier. What are you going to eat for your day? I'll be having a different conversation. I can do the two things and just be.
Well, this podcast has actually really been a good exercise for me, you know?
In what respect? In what, watching somebody with ADHD spiral out.
Just going like, oh, I should ask that. What did he just say? Oh my God, I just forgot.
Got you.
The whole time I'm sitting there like this.
I speak quickly as well. Yeah. I thought you were giving me the death stare. I didn't know if your Botox had just kicked in. You were
What
like,
did he just fucking say? But I haven't. I used to be on Concerta.
yeah.
And I actually am scared to go on it because I'm sober.
Okay.
So I haven't been on it since I've been sober.
How are you finding that journey?
I mean, I just think I need to. There's lots of things I do that make my ADHD worse, like do that at 1 o'clock in the morning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I do struggle with attention. I do struggle with motivation that isn't like immediately rewarding. Do you know what I mean?
Same.
And if I'm finding something boring, I feel like physical pain.
Honestly, it's draining. It's so draining. Do you find that cutting things short, you know, if you've got like a friendship that isn't working or like a relationship that is like maybe coming to the end or whatever, do you find that you find it difficult to create separation and space between things that aren't necessarily good for you?
Oh, yeah. I don't, and I think that comes from the rejection anxiety. I find it really hard to end things. Yeah. And actually, I've learned more of coming to the acceptance that things are allowed to just naturally end, and that's actually fine, and taking away the judgment from that, and taking away the kind of morality from it. You know, things shift and change, people grow, you know. And sometimes I had guilt about that. Actually going, I'm just looking at this person and we're different now, you know. And that's okay. But like in the past, I couldn't break up with people.
Yeah.
I could I'm sorry, it isn't great, but I would rather cause situations that made them break up with me rather than break up with them, you know.
I know it.
And I've sat there in front of people being like, because in my mind, I can't handle rejection.
Yeah.
So giving it to someone else is like this awful thing, but then I end up making it worse, you know.
I can't stand sitting by myself. I hate it. I was raised an only child, so.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, constantly fighting for attention from like my parents who was working, my dad who was like wasn't there, my grandparents would just sit and just be like, yeah, okay, like we're doing the dinner, and I'd be like, hello, I'm here, pay attention to me. So, you know, the isolation of being by myself, I think, has really played in to my rejection sensitivity and feeling like, oh God, I want to be in groups of people. I always want a full house. Always want to be out. I hate sitting still and by myself. I find that really isolating. And now I'm approaching, well, I'm nearly 38, I'm having to really rediscover that relationship with myself and knowing that it's okay and it's a safe space to sit by myself. I don't have to be partnered. I don't have to be in a big group of people. I can just sit with myself, read a book.
I'm learning that being in my head is actually not scary, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of my ADHD also manifests in always having noise on, and like even just like playing music while I'm in the shower or playing a video while I'm in the shower. And so I've been practicing things like not taking my phone into the bathroom. So I have the chance to think in the shower and it be okay.
Yeah.
Whereas thinking was always stressful for me because it was like,
Yeah.
and I'm trying also, and people get on me at this, but I don't know if it's that controversial, but I'm trying also to cycle with no music in because I cycle with
Oh,
music.
that's probably safe.
People always say this is really bad.
But realistically,
I'm like, what am I going to do? Just sit in my head for
I do
40
everything.
minutes?
I literally do everything with music on. I'm exactly the same. But, we've got headphones now that are like super aware. So you can still hear the traffic. You can still hear if there's something coming behind you. Probably not a Prius, but you'll be able to hear certain things. If you're going to be in danger, you'll be able to do both. Or just have one headphone in.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do no headphones to just have that time in my head and not be afraid
Yeah.
of my head,
Cynthia Erivo goes for marathon runs and doesn't listen to music while she's doing it.
Oh, really?
That is just for her,
But she's
in her head,
a
to
machine.
sit and organise her thoughts. Because instead of her Fabi, who, the West End physio guy, looks after her, and she said in her autobiography, I just read it recently, that he said, while you're doing these runs and these marathons, training, and you're singing 8 shows a week, and you're doing this big mad schedule, you should be listening to your body. There's nothing else you need to be listening to. Listen to yourself. Your body will tell you, okay, gone a bit further today than I'm comfortable with. Okay, this is hurting me now. I need to stop and go back. Oh, maybe I need to bring more water with me. I'm dehydrated and I don't feel great. I don't have as much energy. So training and doing things without music is reinforced by professionals that it's meant to be really good, and it can be a positive.
I mean, that is such good advice, and I'll try it because I've just shifted from running with music to running with audio, book, or podcast. Yeah. And if you really think about it, I was running the other day, and I was thinking, well, before like 1987, people used to run with no headphones,
carrying a boombox.
Yeah.
Where were you running?
Where am I running?
Why are you running?
Why am I running?
Where did you run to?
I run along the canal. I'm doing the Hackney Half.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I'm doing the Hackney Half.
Is that your sport of choice? Your activity of choice? Because you cycle as well?
I cycle, I go to the gym. Running is my thing at the minute, yeah.
Cool.
I was swimming until last year, but I can't do winter swims. So I might, because I like outdoors. I don't like indoor swimming. Ugh, this is going into it. But I like the Lido. I really love the Lido, but I can't do winter.
Okay.
So around October, November, I stop swimming.
Okay.
But I'm doing the Hackney Half, and I'm going to promote it. I'm doing it for a charity. That is it's called the People's Recovery Project, and it supports people with experience of homelessness and drug addiction, and supports them getting into recovery. So that's
incredible.
Be fun, yeah.
Well done.
I'm just promoting it now. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, send me the link. I'll definitely contribute.
Oh, thank you. I will do. Yeah. I mean, I think that's it, man. Shall we wrap up?
Absolutely.
Have you got anything else you want to say for yourself?
Absolutely not, my darling. I'm fucking knackered. I'm exhausted, to be honest. No, it is. It's traumatizing, isn't it, when you talk about all these things that have happened, and I want to spill tea, and I want to let people know the reality of what it is, and the lack of duty of care in the industry, in TV shows, in reality. It's hard. So, think before you sign your name away for 25 years. Think about the things that are going to happen and the circumstances that you find yourself in. It's not all red carpets.
I mean,
That's fucking showbiz, baby.
Showbiz, yeah. I mean, I learned a lot today. Thank you so much for sharing and being honest and just being really vulnerable with us. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks.